Welcome to Mission Making with Rich. I am Rich, a mission maker at First Air Assault. Between mission making and other duties in the group, I don't have a lot of time to make individual mission making tutorials. So it's suggested that I let anyone who's interested tag along and join me as I create a mission. Even if First Air Assault members aren't interested in mission making, this video is a great opportunity to see what goes into each mission and the Arma magic to make things happen in-game. For at least this mission, which is Operation Census, which we've all played. This mission did take about 15 hours to create, but the good news is, only the tutorial stuff will be real time and will speed up all the rinse and repeat parts of building a mission. But even speeding bits up, the video is 8 hours in total, and that, my friend, is one long video. So it's broken up into 4 parts, and this video is part 3. While we go back and forth on a lot of mission making tips, this video focuses on Staggering AI spawns, Troubleshooting 101 in a big way, the animal module, testing, and more troubleshooting. Enjoy! And we're literally picking up where we left off in part 2, which is we're laying down waves of bad guys to come at the various objectives. So if you'll notice, I'm going through and hooking them up to various triggers to give a staggered wave kind of effect. You should also note while I'm doing it, as I put the comments down, I'm actually putting a little number in there, and that's telling me how many seconds is in between the different waves. So this gives me an idea visually as I look at it, how timed the waves are going to be. Once we finish putting down all the bad guys, we're going to look to the cars, and that's where the bad guys come out of nowhere, jump in the vehicle, and try to drive out of the AO, and those are going to be targets for Alpha and Zulu to eliminate. To test this one, I'm going to do something a little bit different, which will speed things up, and I'll be able to show you the ability to accelerate time in a mission when you're testing stuff. So I just basically put down a guy here. I'm going to play as this. Let's take out their code so they don't disappear on us. So what'll happen is they'll come in. When we start the game, they'll run to this and they'll run on the path I just gave, which is a pretty long path, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to jump in the back of this truck, and then we'll be able to, because we're still in game, we'll be able to accelerate the time, and you'll see that basically saves you a bunch of time when you're testing stuff like this. And we may, for the next vehicle, we may just copy and paste this vehicle and change out the vehicle type to save ourselves with all the waypoints. We'll have to play with it. Anything in mission making is always, well, let's try this to save ourselves some time, and hopefully you don't spend more time trying to save time than you do. Okay, here we go. Waiting for the last guy to get in. Everybody's in. I jumped in the truck too quickly. AI are very temperamental. This is why they never win a war. They're like, you know what? I quit. Forget about it. Nope, this isn't just right. Someone stepped in front of me. That guy over there doesn't look right. I'm just going to stand here. And then they get shot. That's why they lose the war. It's not because we're clever or we're good at fighting them. It's just they're prima donnas. They're moody bad guys. One thing we'll need to do is we'll need to make sure we enable headlights on all of these, so that way we stand a really good chance of seeing these vehicles drive off. In other words, it'll be like a signpost, hey, look at me, kind of thing. I'm wondering if this vehicle is not moving because I re-enabled everything. Let me try putting down another vehicle. If not, I'm pretty much lost why the thing isn't going. Let's put in another vehicle. And I'll show you the enable headlights. Actually, gosh darn it, I can't do that because otherwise the vehicle headlights will be on the whole time and it'll basically show. It'll be like, look at me, I'm over here. Okay. See, sometimes you have to think through these things before you can. But there is some code we can put in. What I'll do is I'll search for that offline, and basically what we can do is in the. I'm gonna put this out here again. In the on activation, when they hit this, there's some code that you can actually put in,
from your channel.
and it'll automatically switch on the headlights. So, all right, I hate to tell you I was right, but I was right. So obviously the game couldn't keep up with me initially, and I don't know if you saw it, but initially I had disabled the simulation. In other words, it wouldn't work. It was an inanimate object, right? And I decided instead of taking this vehicle, we would take this vehicle, so I re-enabled it. But I guess the game didn't keep up with me. So now we've done that. And I know they're going to drive off. I will jump in the back. Because you saw I missed my window of opportunity to jump in the back there. They just pulled away like wild men. And then we'll speed up the time and we'll make sure that the waypoints I put down work. He doesn't run into anything, and basically he hits every corner like he should. So I'll go ahead and jump in the back. Go to third person. I'll let it start as not to enrage the Arma gods. And then we'll go ahead. There you go. So now if I hit the plus button, you can see in the middle of the screen it comes up with the, it's speeding it up. You can't find the gear. Alright, let's try this one more time without messing with the time. The joys of mission making, just to make sure I didn't do anything crazy. Okay. Oh, look at that. I never noticed it. There's a hole in the floor, the back, on the back of the truck. That is so interesting. What an attention to detail. So, sounds like a waypoint is off because he's, again, they're not that clever. So let's move this closer, which means I'll have to, let's try, and then we'll try to put this one right in front of him. And then hopefully that's not too many curves for him to navigate. Let's try it again. Alright, let's double check that waypoint because something is way off base here. Something is not. So it's this. Let's see if it's got anything in there. It's telling it to move. This one is move. Actually, this safe waypoint should switch on the headlights if it's nighttime, so we'll see. Alright, let's try one more thing. Let's take out the vehicle and put in a different vehicle, because we have this one, which worked just as well. Right. Let's make sure, I mean, push comes to shove. I can actually stick this thing here, like it's parked on the side of the road. And then they run to get in here. Okay, that's not what I want. There we go. And then we put that there. And then we, come on. Then we move this waypoint back to where it was there. Let's try that. Move my guy so I don't have to run. We'll snap it to the surface just to make sure I'm not burying it in the ground and accidentally breaking it when it spawns in. Okay, so I worked out what the problem was. I think I did, but I found another problem while I was testing it. So first, let's do one step at a time. So let's have a look at the truck. The truck wasn't firing right. So a couple of things can happen. If you put a waypoint too far, or the AI can't clearly understand what they're supposed to do with the waypoint, they'll just sit there and stop. So what I did is, when in doubt, start from scratch. So what I did is I deleted the vehicle, because you remember it was right here, and I deleted all the waypoints. The waypoints went all the way over there. Now I will tell you, this is the frustrating part of mission making, because quite frankly, that was a lot of work that went into creating that truck and putting down the waypoints. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So at first I put this truck here, and one of the guys disappeared into this house. And so I tried to foolproof it for the AI, and I put it over here, and it works. However, when I spawned in as this guy to test it and watch it, I saw these guys run out. And I went back, and if you remember, basically these guys are on a trigger, activated by a trigger. They're on this one here. You can see it goes into these guys. And if you look in here, this is activated by this trigger. And this took me a minute to work out. This trigger is this one right here. In other words, when First Air Assault breached this, it says, hey, this is activated, but we have 2 minutes before these guys are spawned. And for the life of me, I couldn't really see. And this just shows you just gotta look and look and look. Look real closely at this and tell me if you can see what's wrong. And maybe if I go to a map view, you can see a little bit clearer, because I didn't see it at first. I actually had to go to map view. What is wrong with this picture? That sync line is hooked to the wrong person. So this code is run automatically. So what I need to do, remember, if I try to unsync it from here, it'll unsync it from all the other stuff that I did before. But if I go to this guy, go connect sync, you'll see it syncs it just, unsyncs it just from this. So what I need to do is I need to sync this to the lead guy where the code is, and this should stop him or this group from spawning. So let's go into, and I'm going to flip this around like this so we can see, because I just happened to turn around and saw this. Thank heaven, because these guys would have spawned during the mission. So I'm going to go here, play as character, and you can actually see the truck works, and this will be a test to make sure that the bad guys didn't spawn. What tipped me off it had to be a trigger was none of the other people were spawning. So there was nothing to do with the scripts. There was nothing to do with the using a trigger to activate a trigger, because nothing else was spawning. So it wasn't until I took a closer look at that and saw that I linked it up. Human error is what it's called. So you can see the guys are running towards the truck now. This is the thing. There is some time, because, you know, AI likes to run around and do the whole, you know, we think we're smart thing. So you want to build this into any time that you set up. And if you look right over here, that's where the bad guys are running out. And they're clearly not now, which means we fixed it. So, disaster averted. And frustrations are put to one side. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to go ahead and continue setting up the waypoints, and then we'll find a different vehicle to set off. And I'll speed all this up for you so you don't have to watch me do it in real time. All right, so now we're actually going to make sure that it can do that entire route that I just plotted. And what I will do is I am going to get in the back, and I'm going to try to show you that sped up method of watching the truck or any vehicle really go down the road. And it'll save you time. So now I press the plus, and you can see it's sped up 4 times. And now this is where you just basically sit back for the ride. This one's going to be quite a bit. There are very few missions that I have that, or I've made, that have the vehicles move this far. So let's sit back and enjoy the ride and see if they hit anything and make all the corners. Excellent. Perfect. I mean, not quite, but as close as you're ever going to get with the AI, that's for sure. All right, so now what we're going to do, now that I have that, delete my guy, I'm going to decide that now we put the code in to make them spawn, which we can find it over here. Nope, we just want the code that basically has them spawn once we you know it's over here. We use the one out of the last vehicle that we put down. We want this one right here that only spawns them once. Copy that, hit cancel, come over here. Those are my guys. Paste that. And we're going to sync this one up to this one. So in other words, as soon as we reach this, this will be the first one. And now I'll go through and put down some more guys to do exactly just what we did. And the beauty is, now that I have the path, I know that those waypoints work for the vehicles. There was one where they came really close to hitting a couple of trucks, but I think we're fine. I'm going to go and when I next pick my vehicle, I can go ahead and, as a matter of fact, you know what we could do? We could do 4 of these, and I'll take this truck as well. So let's put these guys right here. And take this out for now. And I'll put it right in there. And then what we'll do is we will just copy these waypoints. Now you may notice I actually kept, and you should do this for everyone really, because you want to double check your work, right? I took the code out because I actually wanted to see if this vehicle wasn't too close to these buildings, and that's the reason we were having an issue before. So I'm going to actually watch this one more time before I put the code in, and we don't have to watch it all the way down the path. But I certainly want to see it take away and hit the first couple of waypoints. Every type of vehicle that you that is different from what you've already done, you should really just test that type of vehicle. And this is the off-road ARM technical. It's just AI are unpredictable. So that's the one that they're going to be getting in, and I just want to see if they're going to drive away from here fairly effectively, or if they'll just get stuck. Because keeping everyone entertained or distracted with these vehicles driving off are a huge part of this mission. See, you can see this is why I tested. Is he not going to go in? See, he's just refusing to get in. This is why this is why you test this stuff. All right, so that was the dude that, let's see what he looks like. Because what we can do is, it was this guy right here. All right, so he's not the leader. So what we'll do is we'll just delete him, right? Now let's see what happens. They just don't want to get in that driver's seat. Did I you know what I think it is? I'm wondering if it is because actually, let's do this. Let's go backwards. So we don't, I can put back that guy. Hang on. So I'm hitting, okay. Group 2, so we have enough. And I'm wondering if because I took these, I can't remember so long ago now, if they're originally had the simulation taken off and I forgot to there we go. Let's try this now. And you know, when the game, I guess the minute Arma can't forget that you had the emulation taken off. So let's see if that, because obviously maybe they see that as a simple object where you can't drive it. So we'll find out real quick. Yep, there you go. It's because I put I disabled the simulation to begin with, and then I took it off thinking the game would update itself. Gonna have to move that car, obviously. And the game was like, I'm not having any of that. And for whatever reason, somehow it's hard-coded in the game that that vehicle we had before was not going to work. So I moved that out of the way. So what let's do is we'll pull both these out a little bit. And one more time just to make sure it works. And there you go. He doesn't hit anything. Okay, so 3 hours and 20 minutes later, we got a truck to pull out. Congratulations. Welcome to mission making. We'll delete this, and now I will go forward, and we will... oh, so I need to sync this. So let's put this back in here and set this up for a lot later. Make sure I sync to the right guy now. And now what I'll do is let's find some more places for some more trucks. So we're going to end up having 4 trucks leave from this side. So I'll go to map to find my next truck, and let's set this thing up. So it looks like we have objective age basically set up. So what I have is I have walking through it whenever first air assault breaches this, it will set off 2 cars. Is that right? No, it'll set off 1 car, and it'll set off 1 group to go to the car. It will set off this other group, which will come towards here. It'll set this other group that'll come down here. Then if you look 2 minutes later, we have this group will head out. This group will head to a car. This group will head out. And this group will head out to a car. 2 minutes later, you're going to have this group will go to a car. This group will head towards the objective. This group will head towards the objective. So, and this is on top of the interior people are basically taking on all the OP4 that are within the objective. Hopefully, whoever's doing this, and I can't remember off the top of my head whether it's Bravo or Charlie, have got a secure perimeter, and they'll be able to take these guys off. And don't forget, there's also going to be the overflow of these guys heading towards this right here. So this guy, if he's on this corner, he may be engaging them as well. Bear in mind, this is your first objective. You don't want to overwhelm them too much. And there's going to be a bunch of explosions going on, because you can imagine if Alpha that are up here manage to tag these vehicles, and Zulu places an AGM on them, you're going to have explosions going on here, as well as, which we haven't even gotten to this yet, there's going to be some stuff coming down this road here. And so there should be a lot of stuff going on, and it'll be pitch black, or it'll be dark, so you'll be able to see explosions and hear the explosions off in the distance. So we basically can say that we've wrapped up objective age. So now what we're going to do, and pretty much everything I've done is just going to be repeated at whiskey and X-ray. Or sorry, whiskey, no sorry, sex and race. So I'm just going to go ahead and start knocking these out, because now that we've worked out how we want our rhythm to go, this should go a little bit quicker, I hope. The only difference is we're going to have ring as the IP. It's not going to be dead in between. So what we'll probably do is we'll probably have the trigger in here somewhere. So if you see me not necessarily put it over ring, it's because I'm looking to capture them coming off the hill. So let's knock this out. So here's a useful tip. If you're playing with stuff and you're trying to make it look fancy, like I want to lay this on its side, you see the degrees next to the red circle? It says 90.2, 89.9. So this will help you basically see if you're close to what the ground should be, rather than going back and moving it, adjusting it, then having to go back and retweak it again. Pretty much you're guaranteed that if you follow that 90 degrees, it'll be in line with the ground. Now, if you're wondering why I'm leaving all this stuff so the simulation is enabled, one of the tasks that we have is to blow stuff up if we find things. So if I disable the simulation and disable the damage, when these things are blown up, you'll have this house all blown up, and these barrels will be sat perfectly as if nothing ever happened. So if we look back, once we blow this, everything will be on, and that's why I'm basically leaving this stuff with everything enabled. And if you notice, I did it with the I did it before at the other location as well, with the same reasoning behind it. So what I'm going to put down now and you know, it's not something you really need to, but I wanted to do it just so you could see it, is we have the opportunity to make a scene come alive with a module that basically adds animals. And it is in your F5, your systems. And there's a couple of places you can do it. There it is in the animals. Here we go. There's also, I thought there was another one. Let's see. Sites. There you go. So there's two. This is your animals mods module, and I think there's one of these has additional animals in it. So you just basically pop this puppy down, double click on it, and you can see, yeah, this has got all the stuff in it. You can have sheep, goats, poultry, seagulls, houseflies, and mosquitoes are great because when people are walking through, they'll hear them. As a matter of fact, you know what? Why don't we do that? We'll put down the houseflies, and we'll put a garbage can near there. And then this is a really nice one, poultry. Now what you do is you've got your count here. Obviously you want to make sure that you don't have enough 200 chickens, because it'll just basically kill everyone's frames. And then just because it doesn't matter, I'll put down this guy so you can see what happens. So it's as easy as just putting them down, and it actually also gives you a range of how far out you want them and how far they'll go. So you can constrict them into a pen. You can create like a yard. You can have goats, have people walk through goats. It's a pretty neat module to have, and it doesn't take any time whatsoever. There, see, there's all your chickens, and they'll just wander around. For those that were with our World War II, we would have walked through quite a few chickens actually. So again, bring this open. You got your poultry. Maybe it's this one down here. One of these modules. There you go. This has the radius on it. So the other one has more, but this has the radius. So in other words, you can see, you know, you want them out 20 meters, but you want them to stay in the area, or you just want them to roam. But you're limited to goats, poultry, sheep on this one. And I believe this one is an add-on that we use in First Aerosol.
All right, I think you saw how much quicker that second objective went. Quite frankly, the third should go even quicker because there's not two compounds to work. What we're going to do, however, is because we're having this vehicle come from a different point on the road, I'm going to actually go ahead and test this and make sure that this one works okay. And plus, quite frankly, it gives the hand a little bit of a rest after sort of doing all that mouse work to get everything set up so quickly. But I think you see what the concept is. The concept is you stagger them over time. In this case, this is a little bit different from the other missions I do, which I won't go into the specifics, but there's a way to randomly spawn bad guys at various preset points. This one I was physically putting them around the map. And it gives you a little bit of a more random effort to be able to have the bad guys come from. And on top of this, you may have noticed a little bit different from what I did before was I actually... Get out of my way, guys. I don't want you to take off without me. I actually changed up the numbers as well. So hopefully that'll change it up. And it's also a little bit more difficult because you notice I increased the numbers. So that'll be interesting. All right, so that worked perfectly. Now, the only thing that concerns me about this path for this vehicle is if there's anything on the road. Actually, I need to test it to there, really. If anything on the road will block it, because, you know, the AI aren't particularly clever at working around obstacles. So if something gets destroyed on the first objective and it ends up in the road, that could cause problems. The only thing it'll do is it'll stop it and it'll make it an easier target for Alpha and Zulu, but so it's not a total loss. Okay, that's good. That got around the really squirrely bit of that tight S-bend, which is all we really, really want. So now we can finish putting down these waypoints, and pretty much at this point, we can just follow all the other tracks. There we go, that's the one I wanted, right? I really want these guys to pre-fill when they hit this trigger. That was the whole point of putting the trigger, and I screwed up. Alright, so what I need to do is this one and this one. So I need to unsync all of these, resync this guy, and he was down here, this one. Right, so now these will fire off when we enter. And then, so that goes just like that. And then this and this will need to be fired off by this. So, just make sure I got, that's just got, yes, because there's only 2 in there. So this is basically my show module. So I want to link this to my show module. Right, let's put this back to where it was. And then this is my show module. And this should have 1 extra because I have 2 HVTs. So this is basically synced to the group. HVT and HVT. Where's it? And then this is going, then this trigger is going up to the show. So I want to, so this trigger right here, got to do the same thing for it to where I've got X-ray, X-ray. So let's, as I mentioned, go over, sync it. It'll deconnect everything. Now what I want to do is I want to sync this to this one, and then that one. So these guys will suddenly spring into action and go towards X-ray. And because of that, we'll just put this in slightly. And then I want to sync, because this is my show module with the 3. I'm going to sync this to my show module. Now I have a little bit of latitude here because I'm 0 alpha, so I can make sure. As a matter of fact, what I need to do is, if you look, ring is there, so I just have to make sure that we cross this trigger. Otherwise, it's not going to set everything off. And everyone will go into a compound with nobody in it. Pretty embarrassing. But if we come down here, because you can't really come any closer than this trigger, right? Because that's where the space is. Even if he drifts off course and puts us over here, which we don't, we want to do as short as possible between us landing and the actual compounds. And you can see that right there is where we want to be. And push comes to shove, he'll run into it. All right, well, I'm glad I caught that. That would have been annoying, to say the least. So now when they land, this trigger will fill all the bad guys in here, and then these triggers here will bring in the appropriate response from the people you saw me putting around. And now the first truck that we put down, which is right here, which I haven't synced yet. I was going to make it go to this. So in other words, with the thought and the story that as soon as we land, these guys hear it and they want to get the heck out of Dodge. Alright, so let's find some more vehicles to get out of town. So yes, I do know that I am going the opposite way. But I'm trying to keep Kemper and Zulu off their feet, keep them off balance, if you like. And I think I may be able to squeeze in here. If not, I'll have to follow them with the camera. So yeah, if every time we have one vehicle going one way and another vehicle going another way, you're naturally going to look in those directions every time they hit an objective. So if I flip it around a little bit, then it'll keep them off balance. And they'll actually have to generally work for a living and catch the vehicles leaving town. And that is why that is why you test the AI. All right, what did he hit? He hit this. All right, so oh wow. Okay, so that was done in a spectacular fashion too, right? I think it was made even more sensational by the fact we were 4 times the speed, I think. Why are they suddenly getting in this thing now? No, I don't think they're going to get past this part, are they? Yeah, this isn't going to work. All right. Okay, so he made it. So now we can plot out the path for the rest of this trip. See, my concern is where these roads are. You can see where all these waypoints are. It'll be interesting to see what happens if these vehicles get blown up on the road, how the AI is going to manage to get around them. But there are just only so many things that you can plan for as a mission maker. But I see that being a definite drawback. Lithium's a beautiful map, but the roads are very, very limited. You don't have such a big road network, which makes sense because it's supposed to reflect Afghanistan, and it's not like Afghanistan is renowned for its infrastructure of roads, right? Here are my bad guys. So we already had one go right when... Here we go, it's over here. I'm going to hit that trigger. So what we'll do is we'll have it head out. When it hits 180 seconds after they breach the compound. And these aren't going to be all the vehicles that they're going to have to track, and you'll see that in a minute, well, down the road, because we basically got to do vehicles all along here, which will be going either way. So there's going to be two sides of this river dry riverbed to for Alpha and Zulu to monitor. All right, so just for this one, we'll just do one more, and we'll load the vehicles heavy on the other side. So I need one more vehicle. And you know what we'll do? I think I stuck a ton over here, didn't I? Right here. Is that too far away? Oh, here's one. Because if they don't have to go... You know what we'll do? We'll stick this right here, so that way there's more than one. So it's not like they can just stare on that one. Alright, so here it is. Let's take these guys. Yeah, that works. Put them under a tree. And this one right here so we can test it. And all I really need to see is if he can get out of this little area here without hitting it. we're going to sync this one to them breaching this. Yeah, X-ray. So now I think this area is complete. Basically what will happen is land here, push up here. This trigger populates this and this. This trigger will also set off a truck going. Then when they enter Whiskey, you're going to have some bad guys come in. Yeah, you're going to have some bad guys come in from various ways. And that'll set these clocks ticking on here. Then when it hits 180 seconds, that'll send off one of the trucks. And then, as well as some other bad guys. And then when it hits 40 seconds after this compound's being breached, it'll bring in some more bad guys. Over here, as soon as they breach this compound, that'll send off one of the trucks. And then they'll have the same series of 3 waves. Basically, your first wave when they enter the compound, a wave at 180 seconds after breaching the compound, and a wave after 400 seconds. So that, my friend, is your second down. It's looking pretty good. So the final one is going to be your big finale. You're obviously watching this after we've played it, so I'm not sure how this went, but I think you saw this on the earlier part of the video. I changed all this because I want to blow this up with explosives. And I'll tell you what we should do. We should make sure that works. So let me take these guys over here, because we're going to breach in the back, sort of shock and awe. How did that happen? Look at that. These got changed. I don't know how that happened. It's odd. Okay. So let's put a guy down. Get my backpack. Make it big. Oh, we'll go elite since, here we go. And now we want to put demo block. And now I want a clacker. I guess that one. Perfect. And let's play. Now this is the one you have to remember to delete, otherwise there'll be all hell break loose. Just by having a guy there, he may trip, just when he starts wandering, he may trip triggers. And alright, so let's go over here, see if we can't blow this. This works, it'll be pretty cool. Oh, well, let me put it on the... No, it's got to be on the ground. Okay. Alright, we're going to try with one just to start. The beauty about this is you can actually, as mission maker, you can tell people fire in the hole, fire in the hole, fire in the hole. No. You can tell people how many it's going to take. Alright. Let's try this. Alright, hopefully this does it, if not. course, what would be really equally as sexy is... Oh, look, it blew down the other wall. All right. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. So the problem with that is, I think, can I get in there? Yeah, see, it blew every wall around it, but that one down. That is crazy. Ah, you know what it is? Okay, so I guess we're learning a lot together. So I don't know if you remember, but what I did is I originally had all these look like... I had these as indestructible, and then I changed them back. And I don't think you can. What's this called? Middle Eastern Wall, right? Yeah, this is... Okay, let me show you a real neat trick. If you right-click and you go find an asset browser, it'll actually bring it up. See? Right there. Boom. So now I need to basically... Let's copy this... Copy that. Paste it there. Now I have this perfectly set up. All right. I don't think I need to get that far back, actually, do I? Because it didn't seem to have that much of a boom. All right. Ah, famous last words, right? No. Okay, look. Where was... Okay, you know, all I can think is... We're going to try and see if I can get cover here, because you can have one squad here. And... oh, look at that. The bad guys over there. I woke them up. All right, so that's good to know. For whatever reason, the cup damage model is not there for those Middle Eastern walls. So what we need to do is we need to rebuild this wall. And I actually think Enhanced Eden has a replace feature. Find and replace. I think it'll just go through and replace everything. Fudging this, I know, but I don't want to have to rebuild a wall I've built twice. All right, so this should work. And you know, I'm wondering, let me see if I can... I guess not. Not a big deal. It'll be night. You're not going to see the difference there as glaringly as you can. Let's do this one more time, make sure it all works. But this is why you test. Don't assume that because all the right switches are clicked and boxes are unchecked and stuff like that is going to work, because you just never know. You really don't with Arma. There's just so many things you can't see in the code that will basically make or break, because we would have had to climb over this, and I don't know if you can because it looks pretty tall, but that would have been one of the only solutions. And it's okay for when you have a mission maker be 0 alpha, which you really shouldn't. It's not as much fun as when you know, someone else's mission. But I can't imagine being 0 alpha and having that thrown at you. I mean, that's gotta be sucky. All right, we're gonna try this again where we go behind here, because my thought is that this is where the breaching team will be. And look at that, perfect. And they'll just come in. Wow! Well, that's what happens when you have 20 guys at the end, right? Just waiting for you to come in. All right, cool. Look at that, 1 kill. I had 3 seconds of the wall as my kill. Okay, cool. All right, so we know that can happen now, and that's perfect. That's all I needed to do. All right, so if we look at this, we're going to insert here, because you'll see that if you insert here, we should actually change the, no, that's about right? We can push up to the wall. Let's see, yeah. So insert here, because don't forget, it's going to be a general area, because, you know, it's not like you can land a Chinook on a dime or anything. And what will happen is we will push up a squad here. Probably keep a squad back here, and then a couple of people with explosives. Boom, the wall goes, filter in, with the focus being this place here. We'll have to make sure that Alpha provide overwatch on this. Can they see that from there? Let's see. Because they're going to be right here. Yeah, perfect. So Alpha, keep a watch on this. Use guided munitions to take out any bad guys. I'd actually spoken to Zulu. This piece right here for this mission I'm taping on a Saturday, and I spoke to James a little earlier, and he's going to arm up the Viper with anti-personnel. The K, I guess. Yeah, the K AGMs. So this will be perfect, because they can basically target any guys trying to escape. Because what we're going to do is we're going to make this one a little different. Rather than have all these vehicles run away, we're going to have some technicals come in, which is going to be freaky deaky, people. So it's going to be totally swap everything up, because this is your finale. This is the grand thing. And if I could design a perfect mission, it would be an urban thing where you're just Black Hawk down, you know, just heavy fire in a concentrated area. And the reason that I built this the way I did is not only to give it the vibe that this is an old mosque that had a village or a community built up around it, but it also gives you an opportunity to where we'll be able to spawn a bunch of bad guys in here, and the bad guys, as they make their way up to this mosque, will be able to use these houses for protection. So that's all the things that I had in my head when I was building this. The beauty about me, again, being 0 alpha, is I can actually steer this battle that way, so that way the members get that experience that I'm trying to get for them. So with all that in mind, and the reason I told you everything is because that's going to depend on how we do the triggers. So we are really lucky in the fact that we know exactly where everyone is going to be, which you don't often get that. So I'm basically going to put my trigger down here. We're going to make this 20, blue 4, server only. So What that means is anytime a blue 4 comes in here, it'll be fired off. I actually have it at 20, so it'll catch the helicopter fairly high up, and it will actually populate the bad guys that we're going to put in here. This will be the most concentration of bad guys altogether. There are going to be bad guys in here, and there are going to be bad guys over here coming this way. So that way Alpha, that's over here, we'll probably have to shift Zulu over here so they have a clear shot. They will be basically overwatching this side. And then Bravo and Charlie will be, as Bravo and Charlie breach this and then come in here and search this mosque. I've not used this mosque in game before, so this is going to be interesting. I don't think any of us has seen it. Oh wow, this looks really nice too. Look, there's a lot of opportunity. There's going to be a little bit of work in this. This is the problem. I thought I was getting close to the end, but there's going to be a little bit of work because we need stuff for them to hide behind, stuff to obscure the view as people come in. That's just fine. We can do that. All right. So I know that I'm going to need double these guys here. And now really, as you're making a mission, I will tell you, I probably wouldn't spawn any more than this in one go, because otherwise you're really going to hit. Because right now we have, what is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 32 bad guys. You got 32 bad guys coming in. I've had 32 bad guys on the screen at any given time. Now, there is going to be a hiccup when I bring in 32 at the same time, but quite frankly, that's all I can do. See, some stuff got messed up here. I don't know how. This was like this. Huh. And again, I've kept a bunch of these as destructible because we want stuff to happen. And quite frankly, my mind's going crazy trying to think how we're going to dress up this mosque to give people stuff to hide behind. But I'll think of that while we're placing some bad guys. So basically, my objective at this point is to place some bad guys in here. And then I'm going to put some along the edge here. And I'm also going to put some here. So ideally what's going to happen is, in a perfect world, oh, here you go, this is what we do. We'll stick a guy up here, because if you put him right here in the corner, he won't be so as easily seen as Alpha, and he can pop in and not be too obvious. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We'll speed it up, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to try to think of what objects we can put in there to make the mosque a little bit harder to get through. No, I want to make it a fighting chance, so I don't want to put a machine gun up in this tower nearest where they're going to breach, because that would be just a little bit crazy and unfair. Even though it practically is tactically sound, but it's not fair. And of course, in the windows. And again, I don't want it to be too bad to where it's going to totally obliterate people. So let's find another single. Here, this guy. Oh, this is more than fair. Look, he can barely see. So that'll be a pot shot at the helicopter. Let's see if there's anything up here we can shoot from. No. Here you go. Grab any one of these guys. That's a sniper. Automatic rifleman. Okay, I think that gives us a fighting chance because you can see its viewpoint. Around here is where the helicopter is going to land. So once first air assault makes it behind this fence, this wall, they're pretty good. These are just pretty. The windows are got high seals, that's for sure. All right. Now what we can do. Here. There's someone over here. Because the idea is we have a lot of technology and it's hard to spawn people in without suddenly, you know, have people miraculously appear. So if you have it under a cover like this, there's less chance that your drone operator or your pilot will actually see it when it spawns in. Now, because we do have we have members of various religions in our group. We did actually make sure they're okay with us breaching a mosque. We asked that question ahead of time. And while we want the bad guys to look like they're protecting it, we want to make sure that we don't put anything in here that we have to push through or blow up that's going to offend anyone. So this is going to be considered an abandoned mosque, with the Afghans giving NATO permission to breach it. So you don't want to go through and fill this full of religious artifacts or anything like that, because that would not respect our members' values and beliefs. So it's going to have to really be stuff that basically objects to do with insurgency and what you would do to basically supply an insurgency and the whole 9 yards. The thing about putting bad guys in these places is, a lot of times we don't get all the bad guys that are put on the map. I know certainly in my missions. I peeked in Zeus at the end just to monitor how well we're doing, if we need any more bad guys or anything like that. And you'll see guys just sitting there, bad guys sitting there quietly, doing their thing, waiting for their moment in the spotlight. So this, because these guys are going to go through and we're going to clear all these things. This is probably the best part that we don't get to do that often, which is these long corridors. You gotta remember to cover both ends when you're doing your corridors. So let's see, are there any stairs here? No stairs. No stairs. All right, so the stairs are primarily, they're on one side. Look. So people will come up here and they have to go all the way through to get to the next level up, which is here. And I think once you do that, that's the roof. Okay. They can come up here. All right, so let's grab a guy. Since we can't shoot out, we can shoot in. So what I'm thinking, for stuff to put in here, military style cots. We can probably put a couple of boards up, like whiteboards and things like that. Radio. There you go. Office. Yeah, put in a bunch of office furniture. You want to see something really tricky? This is not cool, but we're going to do it. Behind people as they come up the stairs. Give him some watches back.
We're going to end part 3 right there, my friends. If you head over to part 4, the final leg, we're going to finish off this mission, and we're going to take a look at advanced object placement, creating kill zones, advanced Jeebus respawn, code and waypoints, on-screen hints, player loadouts, needed modules for first air assault missions. I'm going to show you how to create a respawn point, do all the mission details, ace settings, as well as a pre-server mission test. Thank you very much for your company in part 3. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the final leg, part 4.